Good morning. Just recapping Missouri. Proud of the fight of these guys, and it's not just the last 3 weeks, it's the last really 5-6 weeks since we dropped week 1, and just the resiliency these guys have, and it's in games, and it's just them just sticking together. They're playing for each other. Got to keep it rolling. It doesn't happen on its own. It happens through hard work. It happens through building trust and belief, through practice and great habits there, and it's carrying over to the football field, helping us find ways to win when it matters most. And so team football, I think, probably some of the best team football stacking weeks on top of each other that I've ever been a part of. It's not perfect. You guys see that, but it's team. It's a team sticking together. It's a team cover for each other. Doing some of the things that we couldn't do a year ago. One side of the ball coming through, getting points on the board. The other side, getting a stop, 3 and out. Changing field position that way. Kicks when we need it. Pinning teams back inside their own 20 in different games. Just playing team football, and that's what matters right now. So I think there's a toughness that we have, and we talk about toughness wins. That's mental, physical, to emotional toughness. I think proud of the way our guys, turnover-wise, continue to win that battle each and every week. We're winning the time of possession. We took, I think, we didn't shut them down, but we took a lot of the things that Missouri did well, and flipped the script on that from a time of possession standpoint, and kept them from being able to have as many plays as they'd like to be able to continue to hammer away with their run game. That's team football right there. And then I think the penalties too, I'm not afraid to talk about it with all those things, because it happens through work. You create your own luck, you create your own breaks. Could use a few more breaks when the ball was on the ground. Those will fall in our hands as long as we continue to hustle and get to it. Now the whole thing is about sustaining the energy, because each week, right? Each week has been stacked on top of itself, and these guys have been bringing it at a high level in practice, and get a great opponent with Tennessee coming in here this weekend. Understand the rivalry, and it's a lot of fun for our fans, and goes back obviously generations. We understand how big of a deal this game is to them. We understand how big of a deal this game is to us right now in the season that we're in, and that's what we're focused on. But Coach Heupel, nothing but the utmost respect for him and his staff, just what they're doing, what he's done. Tennessee, his coaching career, an outstanding coach, great football mind. You can see it on the football field. You see the culture that they've built there too, and looking forward to a great game. We need our fans loud, extremely loud. We need an environment that's the best in the country here this weekend. Again, we're playing for a lot each week, and we appreciate the support we get. Players feel the energy and feed off of it. So,
thanks, Coach. Start with Charlie on the right.
Coach, I was going to see if you had an update on some of the guys that popped up on the availability report last week. It's Jalen Hale, Jalen Mbakwe, and Keon Jones.
Jalen's been sick. Jalen Hale's been sick. That was the reason why he last minute got put on the report. Who else?
Jalen Mbakwe and Keon Jones.
Bach had a hand injury in practice last week, and he'll be back out there practicing, and we'll see kind of as the week goes on how he goes there. Obviously, he plays receiver, so that affects you a little bit. But there's other things he can do for our football team, and he's in great spirits, and so he'll go through that. Jam, and Derek will both be going through their protocol this week. I hit it on everyone.
Keon Jones.
Keon Jones, he had to have surgery on an ankle injury, and so he'll be down for a little while.
Far left, Chase.
After the game, Ty said that he missed a lot of protection checks against Missouri. Is that ultimately completely his responsibility, or does some of that fall on Parker also?
A lot of how we orchestrate it, I think, is pretty easy to see from a football mind. Just that it starts with Parker getting things started, but Ty overrides everything. Ty makes he can see the big picture and knows really what he wants to get to. So in the end, the quarterback, whether it's a turnover and it's not his fault, it still falls on his shoulders, the protection checks. And so Ty, you know, he holds himself at such a high level, he's gonna take accountability for all of that. He's the one that needs to declare if something's not right or what he feels comfortable with, you know, getting us into that protection. So he's, again, we ask a lot out of him, he asks a lot of himself, and it doesn't surprise me that he holds himself accountable for all of that.
Let's go to Nick on the far right here.
Yeah, kind of the weekly Caden Proctor question about the latest use of him. What did you see in that play, and kind of a unique setup with Parker being on the very edge of the line, snapping it backward like that? Just kind of what goes into that working?
Yeah, I mean, I just think, you know, Brian Grubb and our offensive staff doing a great job, not just with that play, but everything we're doing, continue to force the issue, have creativity, force defenses to have to think about what's next, whether it's with that package or other things that we do. You know, we're using it in big moments, you know. I mean, it's something that we feel isn't just this, you know, like exhibition. You know, it's something where we feel like KP can do some things, and there's a positive in a way where we can, you know, gain yards in critical moments with him. So there's a trust that we have in him. So again, I think just in general, you know, Brian Grubb just doing a great job. You continue to push the envelope for our whole offense to continue to attack teams in different ways. You know, people always think attack vertically in the passing game, but there's other ways to attack people, and do it in those moments. You know, it's great to see our guys execute and do a good job. Got a first down.
Two questions on the front row. We'll go to Emily Graves and then Colin.
Coach, when you look at the Missouri game as a whole, you mentioned the resiliency this team has. Is there a moment that sticks out to you that really defines it, whether it was a conversation of the players, something you overheard, or just what you saw on the field from your team?
I think there's a lot of them. I think the first drive of the game, they go down the field on us, and we respond offensively with a touchdown. And then our defense goes back out there and gets a stop, and then we respond again. You know, no one relaxing, no one flinching, even in that just sequence, 2 offense, 2 defensive series. And then I think at the beginning of the second half, when we put the ball on the ground and, you know, give them a short field, they score a touchdown. That's a time where all of a sudden we had a 10-point lead, and now it's within a minute really of time on the clock, because it was the end of the half, they got a field goal and then a touchdown. All of a sudden we're in a tie game. And so, you know, what's that look like? And it's coming back, and you can see it. I know your questions about certain conversations, but I think it's just the look in our guys' eyes. They're in the locker room at halftime. I've referred to this a couple of times. They're looking to solve problems. There's energy. There's excitement to go back out there, continue to execute. There's not the timidness that they have. It's trust and belief in them and their side of the ball, but it's also trust and belief that the other side's going to get figured out at some point. We're going to get figured out. The game's going to come back to us if we're behind, and we're going to continue to execute and just continue to apply pressure when we're ahead.
Colin?
Hey, Keon, you already mentioned this a little bit in this opening statement, but you guys are currently tied for the longest home win streak in college football. I'm curious about what separates your home atmosphere, whether it's from past places you've been, or, you know, just in your 2 years here, what separates Alabama's home atmosphere?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great environment here. I think it's the feeling you even have with the walk into the stadium, and there's just you know, the players, we pull up in the buses and you can see everyone's ready to go. You know, we better make sure we hold our end of the bargain too. And so, you know, that honestly goes into the week of preparation and the understanding of what it's even going to feel like when you're practicing on Tuesday. The excitement, you know, that leads into wanting to make sure that we're at the top of our game on Saturday. So, and then you get in the environment and you need, you know, crowd noise to affect the timing of the snap count for the opponent, the momentum and what that brings, you know, when we're making plays. And so, just huge to have that energy being at home. I think that would go for a lot of programs, but it's definitely a big deal here for us.
Go to Katie in the middle of the room.
I know you haven't been here for his whole time, but just what have you seen from Keon Keely in his development and waiting his turn? And then Kane just talked about him having that big moment in the game on Saturday and just kind of the way he's come along.
Yeah, he just has done a good job of just being patient, and but you know, there's just things that, there's reasons that have kept him from getting on the football field that he just continues to work on. And, you know, he's got potential to do some amazing things for us, and, you know, working him into different packages this last week, I really liked the growth there. He's been involved in special teams a little bit more in the past few weeks as well, and so just continue to build each week. And as he gets more and more comfortable, you know, I can see that impact being greater and greater. And so I'm really proud of who he's just a great kid in general. That's what makes it fun being on the football field with him. That's what makes you want to pour everything you got into him and help his growth. And then, you know, he's humble and, you know, obviously can make some plays. And so I'm looking to see more and more of him in the weeks ahead.
Go to Jamie on the front right.
Hey Coach, you said before that every week tells you more about your team. After 3 consecutive ranked wins, what have you learned most about your group heading into Tennessee?
You know, it's been a fight for these guys because it's not just those 3 games. We've had our backs to the wall since week 1, and there's a bye week in there, and so I think they've done a great job of taking whatever it is that is against us, or whatever the doubt is that people have for our team, and taking that energy and just pouring it into what matters most, and that's our preparation. And so this is another, you know, there's a rivalry piece to this game, but there's also now just there's a confidence that we've built through some things, but we also got to go back to how did this all start? This all started with us just really being intentional on the work that we're doing. We've referred to just shut up, show up, and do the work. I mean, that's just really what we've kind of honed in on, and then everything we do, we just have an urgency level. And I'm really proud of the guys for not falling off that standard that we had, because that's what human nature is. You know, you get comfortable. We've had 5 wins in a row now, and our conference and the schedule keeps you from, you know, that's one thing that keeps you from falling off the standard, because every week if you don't, you know you're going to be in trouble. And so I'm just proud of the way the guys have been resilient in the matters, in the moments that matter most, and just continue to also understand how we've got there. And it's through hard work. It's through a lot of those things I said earlier with the team, and the buy-in to each other, not wanting to let their teammates down. You know, and so again, we got a lot of room for improvement. You've heard from the coordinators and the areas that we've fallen short, and the things that we feel we can do better.
All right, we're gonna finish up all the way in the back right.
Coach, when you play tough week in, week out SEC opponents, physical, does that make you practice limited live reps, change the way you practice?
I think as the schedule, as the season goes along, you have to continue to keep that in mind on where is your team at, you know, how is this taking a toll? Right now, I feel, you know, we're always monitoring it, but the pedal is down right now for our guys, and, you know, the GPS and all that kind of stuff. I mean, there's other ways that we used to not be able to tell like where our guys are at, and I think from a practice habit standpoint, we practice as hard as you could imagine, and there's proof in that. You know, it isn't just something that's just the eyeball test. There's other pieces to it as well. But we also have to understand, like with your question, that there are physical games being played on Saturdays, and there are certain guys that, you know, it hits different than others, and so, you know, that shows up on Tuesday, it shows up on Wednesday. You know, a lot of people read into reps and things like that, and why is this guy, his rep count down? There's probably a little bit more to that as well that, you know, isn't seen because you're not at practice, and, you know, who's maybe a little bit hobbled and dinged up, and, you know, we're not making all that stuff known all the time, you know. So I'm just really proud of the way these guys, you know, each week, you know, tomorrow morning, I really feel like I know what I'm gonna get from our guys. I expect a high level of energy, I expect a high level of just effort, and they've risen to the occasion every week and haven't fallen off. And so that's a credit to them. That's a credit to our coaching staff for finding the ways to really keep them, you know, on edge, keep them motivated, understand the importance of the work that we put in all day, each and every day.
Thank you.
See that.